Hello and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News. Today I want to tell you about the real truth behind the UN Arms Treaty and a cool new peanut butter flavored M9 from Beretta. But before we get started, I want to tell you about the bold, uncompromising flavor of handcrafted barrel-aged TNVC night vision.
TNVC.com! Night vision devices for people who need gratuitous amounts of seeing in the dark. With all new flavors like sour apple green phosphor, white cherry phosphor, and beer. Seeing. You'll be good at it. Science, night vision, science, night vision. TNVC night vision is made with real dark matter. You'll be so good at seeing, you'll be able to see through time.
So let's get this party started with one of the things which has been chewing through bandwidth on ARFCOM and all the other socials. You might have heard about how Stranger Danger wants to sign some scary treaty with the UN, which will let them roll their white APCs through the streets of any town USA and go door to door confiscating all of our guns. I gotta say, there is no small amount of hyperbolic hand-wringing moving around on our side with this one, and that's not a good look. Yes, the treaty is bad, and we don't need to be a part of it, but we were already a signatory before President Trump unsigned us.
I'd unfriend you.
If, and probably when, we rejoin the treaty, it would require a gun registry, which is stupid and bad, of course, but it wouldn't require a registry of all guns like people have been saying. It would only require the registration of guns purchased from overseas. And that probably means just the importer or distributor, but because the treaty is incomprehensibly vague and it does refer to end users, it's hard to say.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
It could mean actual end users are required to be registered, which would violate federal law. But the treaty also says signatories are supposed to take measures pursuant to their national laws, which would indicate it would not create a registry of actual end users. But if it did, it would make that registry available to foreign governments. And if all of that isn't confusing enough, even if it did go into effect and create a registry, it might be relatively easy to defeat in court. Uncle Touchy doesn't have the authority to join treaties on his own, and even if Congress does authorize the signing of it, Congress doesn't have the power to sign treaties which violate our own laws. So if we can argue that gun registration infringes on the right to keep and bear arms, the courts could find the treaty void, but they could also find it void because it couldn't be passed in the first place. In the end, it's still hot garbage, but it's more nuanced garbage than the keyboard commandos are making it out to be, and it would have no bearing at all on domestic production, sale, or possession of small arms. Nevertheless, it's a good time to remember why gun registries are so terrible.
That's terrible.
The only reason someone could possibly have for wanting a list of gun owners is to make it easier to take those guns. And the only reason someone has for wanting to take your guns is because they plan to do something they couldn't get away with if you were armed. Which is why Californistan's new law is extra super duper stupid. Assembly Bill 173 was signed into law near the end of September. It requires the California Department of Justice to hand over the entire gun registry to the Firearm Violence Research Center at UC Davis and allow the registry to be published to other nonprofit gun research institutions at the discretion of the California DOJ. That means theoretically, they could hand over the registry to moms in your area looking for action if some unaccountable bureaucrat in the DOJ just decides those Karens are a bona fide research institution. And we're not talking about sanitized and anonymized demographic and statistical data either. We're talking about the actual names and home addresses of gun owners. I don't think it's unreasonable to expect this data will inevitably leak to the public. And I also don't think I'm being paranoid in considering that to be a feature, not a bug. That's the real point of this bill in the first place. They want a plausibly deniable way to export the registry into public domain. But what they don't seem to understand is any reasonably comprehensive list of people who own guns also acts as a de facto list of people who don't own guns. Planning a robbery? Better check that list first. Wait, this house is on the list. Whew, boy, that was a close one. better hit his neighbor. Remember how we reported a couple of months ago about San Diego passing a law which bans homemade guns or even possessing vaguely gun-like objects which could be made into a gun? Well, on the same day it went into effect, the Firearms Policy Coalition filed a suit challenging the law on 2A grounds as well as seeking a temporary restraining order. Making and buying arms are instrumental to bearing arms, as any idiot can tell you. So banning the manufacture of firearms altogether is a gross insult against the Second Amendment and human rights in general. If you want to help FPC keep being absolute chads, why not go to firearmspolicy.org/donate and toss them some caps.
Industry news.
Beretta has 3 new M92 based guns out now, and one of them is peanut butter flavor. The M9A4, 92X RDO, and 92X Performance Defensive are all built around the classic M92, which was adopted by the DoD in 1985, and they all have optics cuts. The 92X Performance Defensive has adjustable fiber optic sights, thinner grips, and a safety where the good Lord intended. The 92X RDO has the more traditional slide-mounted safety you're used to seeing on Beretta pistols and a Picatinny rail. The M9A4 has a threaded barrel, oversized magazine release, decocker-only lever on the pushy slidey bit, and a smooth, creamy peanut butter flavor which pairs nicely with crackers. Well, friends, that's about all I have for you today, but before I go, I just want to take the time to remind you to please check and see whether you're still subscribed to us. Our robot overlords in the tube of views know what we want better than we could possibly know for ourselves, so they just go ahead and unsubscribe viewers every now and then from channels they think express wrongthink, like this one. Now, you folks out there know censorship makes puppies cry, and Captain America is very disappointed, so don't forget to check every now and then just to be sure you're still subscribed to us. While you're at it, make sure you ring that notification bell so you never miss a word of our gun rights propaganda. And if you want to get email alerts for the best deals, projects we're working on, and the hottest stuff you missed on the ARFCOM forums, you'll also find a Linktree link down there in the doobly-doo for our newsletter. And remember, if you like banger content like this and you want to help us keep making it, please support our sponsors. This video was made possible by TNVC and viewers like you. I love you. Which is why Californistan's new law is extra super duper stupid. 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 Super duper stupid.